You just spent 6 hours detailing your car. You clayed it, polished it, sealed it. The paint looks flawless under the sun. You step back and admire the work. 2 weeks later, you notice swirls starting to come back. A month after that, the gloss is gone. You didn't drive through a car wash. You didn't let anyone else touch it. You washed it yourself, carefully, using the 2-bucket method everyone recommends. So what went wrong? Here's the uncomfortable truth. The 2-bucket method isn't saving your paint. For most people, it's just slowing down the damage. And that's because the method itself has been misunderstood, oversimplified, and sold as a miracle solution when it's really just one piece of a much larger system. The mistake isn't that you're using 2 buckets. The mistake is thinking 2 buckets alone will protect your paint. It won't, not even close. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why your wash routine is still marring your clear coat, what's actually causing the damage, and how to fix it without spending a fortune on products you don't need. Let's start with what gloss actually is, because most people think it comes from wax, or sealant, or ceramic coating. It doesn't. Gloss is a function of surface smoothness. When light hits your paint, it either reflects cleanly or scatters. A smooth surface reflects light in a uniform direction. That's what creates that deep, mirror-like shine. When your clear coat gets scratched, even microscopically, those scratches scatter light in random directions. Your eye interprets that scatter as dullness, haziness, or swirls. Wax doesn't fix scratches. Ceramic coating doesn't fill them. They can enhance gloss temporarily by adding a smooth layer on top. But if the surface underneath is damaged, that gloss fades fast. The only way to maintain true gloss is to preserve the integrity of your clear coat, and that means preventing scratches in the first place. Now here's the real problem. Most paint damage doesn't happen when you're driving. It happens when you're washing. Every single time you drag a mitt, a sponge, or a brush across your paint, you're creating friction. Friction isn't inherently bad. Your clear coat can handle it. But friction combined with abrasive contamination is what destroys paint. And this is where the 2-bucket method fails. Most people, they think the rinse bucket is removing contamination from the wash mitt. It's not fully. Not even halfway. What's really happening is this. Your car's paint is covered in bonded contaminants. Brake dust, iron, fallout, tree sap, industrial pollution, road tar, mineral deposits from hard water. These particles are jagged, sharp, and microscopic. When you run a wash mitt over them, they don't just sit there. They get picked up by the fibers of your mitt. Now your mitt is loaded with abrasive particles. You dunk it in the rinse bucket, swirl it around, and pull it back out. You think it's clean? It's not. The grit guard at the bottom helps, but it doesn't eliminate contamination. It traps larger debris. The microscopic stuff, the stuff that actually causes marring, stays embedded in your MIT. And now you're dragging that contaminated MIT across fresh sections of paint. Every pass creates new scratches. I've tested this myself on customer cars and my own vehicles. I took a black sedan that was freshly polished. Perfect paint, no swirls. I washed half the hood using a standard 2-bucket method with a quality microfiber mitt and pH-neutral soap. The other half I didn't touch. After just 3 washes over 3 weeks, the difference was visible under LED light. The washed side showed light marring. The untouched side stayed flawless. Same car, same paint, same environment. The only variable was the wash process. And this isn't an isolated case. I've repeated this on different paint types, different climates, different soap brands. The result is always the same. The 2-bucket method alone does not prevent micro-marring. Let's talk about why the industry pushes this method so hard. Automatic car washes destroy paint. Everyone knows that. So the detailing community needed a simple alternative they could teach to beginners. The 2-bucket method became that solution. It's easy to explain, cheap to implement, and a massive step up from gas station brushes. But over time, it became gospel. People started treating it like the final answer, and companies selling buckets, grit guards, and wash mitts had no reason to complicate the message. The 2-bucket method sells products. It's marketable, but it's not complete. The pros who actually protect paint for a living don't stop at 2 buckets. They add pre-wash steps, decontamination, and proper drying methods. But those details get left out of beginner tutorials because they're harder to explain and require more tools. Now, let's bust some myths. First, the idea that washing your car often keeps it cleaner and safer. That sounds logical, but every wash introduces risk. If your process isn't dialed in, you're compounding damage with every session. I've seen cars washed weekly that look worse than cars washed monthly, purely because the weekly routine was flawed. Frequency doesn't equal safety. Method does. Second myth, pressure washers damage paint. They don't. Not unless you're holding the nozzle 2 inches away on a tight pattern or using something like a turbo nozzle on clear coat. Pressure washers are one of the safest tools you can use because they remove contamination without contact. Third myth, ceramic coating makes your paint bulletproof. Ceramic coatings add hardness, hydrophobicity, and chemical resistance. They do not prevent scratches from improper washing. You can absolutely mar a ceramic-coated car if you're dragging dirt across it with a wash mitt. The coating might make it easier to clean, but it doesn't make bad technique safe. And fourth, wax prevents scratches. Wax is sacrificial. It wears away. It can reduce friction slightly, but it will not stop abrasive particles from cutting into your clear coat. Thinking wax protects you is like thinking lotion prevents cuts. So what's actually happening at a microscopic level when you wash incorrectly? Imagine your paint under magnification. The clear coat surface isn't perfectly flat. There are peaks and valleys. Bonded contamination sits in those valleys and protrudes above the surface. When your mitt makes contact, those particles act like sandpaper. They're harder than your clear coat, so they shave material off with every pass. The scratches they create are shallow at first. You won't see them in indirect light, but over time, those micro scratches accumulate. They overlap. They deepen. The clear coat loses thickness. The gloss fades. The paint starts to look hazy, especially in sunlight. And once that happens, the damage compounds. Because now your paint is rougher, which means it holds more contamination, which causes more scratching during the next wash. You enter a cycle. Wash, marring, contamination, wash, more marring, more contamination. Eventually, you need a full paint correction to restore gloss. And paint correction removes clear coat. You only have so much to work with before you're down to base coat. Here's how to recognize the warning signs early. Run your hand across your paint after washing and drying. If it feels rough or gritty, you've got bonded contamination. That roughness will cause marring during your next wash. Check your wash water. If your rinse bucket is visibly dirty after just a few panels, you're pulling a lot of contamination off the paint. That's good, but it also means your mitt is loaded with debris. Look at your paint under direct sunlight or with a flashlight at an angle. Swirls and scratches show up as spiderwebbing or circular patterns. If you're seeing new swirls after every wash, your process is flawed. And pay attention to how fast your protection breaks down. If you applied a wax or sealant and it's gone in 2 weeks, your paint is rougher than it should be. Rough paint wears through protection faster. Certain factors make this worse. Dark paint shows damage easier, but all paint types scratch. Soft Japanese paint from brands like Mazda, Subaru, and Nissan is especially prone to marring. Hard German paint from Audi or BMW resists scratches better, but still isn't immune. If you live in a dusty environment or park under trees, your car accumulates more contamination between washes. Paint protection, film, and vinyl wraps can be scratched just like paint. They're more forgiving in some ways, but improper washing still causes damage. And daily drivers that see highway use pick up more iron, fallout, tar, and road grime than garage-kept weekend cars. The risk isn't equal across the board. You need to adjust your process to match your specific situation, so here's the fix. The 2-bucket method is part of the solution, but it's not the whole thing. Start with a proper pre-wash. Use a foam cannon or pump sprayer to apply a pre-wash solution that breaks down surface dirt and contamination before you touch the paint. Let it dwell for a few minutes, then rinse thoroughly with a pressure washer. This step removes the bulk of abrasive particles without contact. It's the most important step, and most people skip it. Next, use a pH-neutral car shampoo designed for regular maintenance. Avoid dish soap or harsh degreasers unless you're stripping old wax. Fill your wash bucket with clean water and proper soap dilution. Fill your rinse bucket with clean water and install a grit guard. Use a high-quality microfiber wash mitt, not a sponge, not a brush, not a rag. Wash one panel at a time using straight-line motions, not circles. Rinse the mitt in the rinse bucket after every panel. Wring it out completely. Inspect it for visible dirt. If it looks contaminated, rinse it under running water before continuing. After washing, rinse the entire car with Dry the car immediately using a dedicated drying towel or a blower. Never let it air dry. Water spots etch into clear coat and create more surface irregularities. After drying, decontaminate the paint. Use an iron remover to dissolve metallic fallout. Use a clay bar, clay mitt, or clay towel to remove bonded contamination that washing didn't touch. This step should happen every few months, not every wash. Finally, apply a layer of protection, wax, sealant, or spray coating. This adds a sacrificial layer and improves hydrophobic properties, which makes your next wash easier and safer. Let's talk cost. A proper wash setup costs less than one paint correction. A foam cannon is $30 to $60. A pressure washer you might already own, or you can get a budget model for around $100. Quality microfiber mitts are $10 to $15 each. Buy 2 so you can rotate them. A grit guard is under $10. Pre-wash chemicals and pH-neutral soap cost around $20 and last month's. A clay bar kit is $15 to $25 and can be used multiple times. Iron remover is around $15. You're looking at maybe $200 to $300 total for a complete system. Compare that to paint correction, which starts at $300 for a single stage and can easily hit $1,000 or more for a full multi-stage correction on a larger vehicle. The math is simple. Prevention is cheaper than correction, and it preserves your clear coat thickness for the long term. Here's the takeaway. Products don't protect your paint. Process does. You can buy the most expensive soap, the thickest wax, the hardest ceramic coating. None of it matters if you're dragging contamination across your clear coat every time you wash. The 2-bucket method is a foundation, not a complete system. If you're serious about preserving gloss, You need to add pre-wash, proper tools, contamination removal, and a maintenance schedule. Stop chasing miracle products. Start refining your technique. The detailers who keep their cars looking showroom fresh for years aren't using secret formulas. They're just doing the basics correctly and consistently. So here's my question for you. When's the last time you decontaminated your paint? When's the last time you inspected your wash mitt under light to see how much dirt it's actually holding? Drop a comment and let me know. If this video changed the way you think about washing your car, hit the like button and subscribe, because next week I'm breaking down why your drying method is leaving more scratches than your wash ever did. Most people think drying is the safe part. It's not. I'll show you exactly what's going wrong and how to fix it. Your paint depends on it.